Welcome to the Glore Psychiatric Museum in beautiful St. Joseph, Missouri. My name is Miles Klos and I'll be your host here on Exploring the Miles. George Glore's main focus was to get the most mental illness items together in one place. This building houses 4 floors of items. After a small fee of $5 for adults and $3 for students, there will be a wall of photographs of the original complex. These stairs were once in the original complex, and the staff hopes to have them rebuilt in the near future. This is just one of many of the patient art displays on the grounds. This is an aerial photo of the grounds. The original location was named the State Lunatic Asylum No. 2. The basement of the complex consists mostly of farm tools. This artificial leg was kind of unique though. Weaving looms were set up to help patients get out aggression. The last room I looked at in the basement was full of medical, exercise, and rehabilitation equipment. My next stop was the second floor. The first display showed 1,446 items removed from a patient's stomach. These included nails, buttons, and an assortment of other items. This iron rod is a replica of a rod that went through Phineas Gage's face, skull, brain, and head in 1839. Crazy thing is, he survived. You can learn more about Gage here. This helped gain much information on the brain. This device shown here is a fever cabinet. It was used to rid people of syphilis by raising their body temperature. Here next to the girl in the straitjacket is a display case that shows the difference between modern tranquilizers or pills and medieval tranquilizers and belts. Next is a door that demonstrates how patients were kept secluded to themselves. Shown here are a few other forms of seclusion. This device was used to rotate patients up to 2 full rotations per second. But after many efforts, it didn't help anyone. Isolation was a pretty common practice, as you can tell. Some mental illness practices were even used by cavemen. They thought by drilling a hole in a person's head, it would allow the evil spirit to exit through the person's skull. Here are a few tools for just that. The tranquilizer chair was used to hold people in place until they became calm. This method of treatment was known as water dousing. Staff hoped this method would shock people out of their current state. Extracting blood was another common method used during these times. One way was by letting leeches suck out the blood. They kept the leeches in the containers shown here. Another way was to cut the skin with razors and let the patient bleed out their illness, or so they thought. Much like a hamster wheel, this hollow wheel was designed to help patients rid themselves of extra energy when confined to the hospital. Like water dousing, doctors would drop patients through a trapdoor into cold water. They hoped that the shock would rid them of their mental illness. Usually it just made them more scared than they already were. Before mental illnesses were discovered, many people who had mental illnesses were mistaken as witches and burned at the stake. Later on, patients received medicine. Medicine was kept in glass containers similar to these. On the 4th and last floor, we have some music therapy equipment. Music therapy was first studied at the University of Kansas and was first used throughout the Midwest. This is a replica of a patient's room. This model is that of a similar hospital. Most of the upstairs is dedicated to patient art. Shown here is a mosaic made by a patient using dyed eggshells. patient didn't talk, instead she stitched words into sheets. Another patient thought that if he collected enough cigarette packs, the hospital would receive a free new wheelchair from the cigarette company. This didn't end up being true, but after collecting over 100,000 packs, the hospital bought him a new wheelchair anyways. The patient who owned this TV stuck over 500 letters into it. It is possible that he thought that if he put the letters into the TV, they would be broadcasted through it. Well, that concludes our trip to the museum. You can check out the museum's website in the description below, and I hope you get the chance to go to the museum yourself someday. And from Miles Klos here at Exploring the Miles, remember to keep seeking bliss and to keep the adventure alive. Peace.